We begin tonight's broadcast in Baltimore, where a major Maryland bridge has collapsed early this morning after a container ship crashed into the bridge. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, which carried the Baltimore Beltway or Interstate 695 over the Patapsco River, collapsed around 1:30 in the morning after the carrier ship Dolly issued a Mayday call. The Mayday call allowed authorities to limit the amount of traffic on the 1.6-mile-long bridge. However, a search and rescue is still underway for those unaccounted. Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency around 9 a.m. today, and in a press conference, hailed the efforts of first responders.
To our first responders, I'm in awe of you. I'm in awe of your courage. I'm in awe of your strength. I'm in awe of everything you do for each and every one of us. You saw a crisis, and you said, what can I do to help? And our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak.
The state of emergency that Governor Moore issued will be in effect for 30 days to mobilize emergency resources and services. 2 people have been rescued from the river, and 6 are still missing and presumed dead by their employer. Former President Donald Trump is again attacking the daughter of a New York judge who put him under another gag order. Hours ago, on his social media platform, Trump wrote, "Maybe the judge is such a hater because his daughter makes money by working to get Trump." He also called Tuesday's gag order illegal, un-American, and unconstitutional.
This is a case that could have been brought 3.5 years ago, and now they're fighting over days because they want to try and do it during the election. This is election interference. That's all it is, election interference.
The gag order prevents Trump from making or having others make public statements about jurors and witnesses, including about adult film star Stormy Daniels. However, it does not prevent him from making comments about Judge Juan M. Merchan or his family. Merchan issued the gag order because of Trump's history of, quote, threatening, inflammatory, and denigrating comments. And I'm Camryn Bowden. We begin tonight's broadcast in the Southwest, where numerous powerful Arizona Republicans and former President Donald Trump have backstepped their previous praise for the near-total abortion ban that came into effect yesterday in the state. In response to the ban taking effect and the backlash that many in the state had, former President Donald Trump said, quote, "It'll be straightened out, and I'm sure that the governor and everybody else are going to bring it back into reason, and that'll be taken care of, I think, very quickly." The ban stems from a ruling yesterday by Arizona's Supreme Court, which relied on an 1864 law that barred almost all cases for an abortion in the state. A multitude of Republicans in the state issued statements in opposition to the ruling, despite previously pushing for a ban. Also overnight, many top Democrats in the state spoke out against the decision, like Senator Mark Kelly, who scrutinized the ruling over its impacts on doctors.
This is going to criminalize doctors for doing their jobs, and it's going to have a devastating effect on the health and freedom of women in Arizona.
Arizonan Senate candidate Republican Kari Lake once called the statute, quote, a great law, but says today that the ruling was out of step with Arizonans. Flying down to Florida, Walt Disney World and members of a board appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis have reached an agreement today over a court battle surrounding how Walt Disney World will be developed in the future. After Governor DeSantis took over the theme park's unique district in Orlando, the DeSantis appointees experienced pushback by Disney, resulting in 2 years of litigation that was resolved today. In an interview, DeSantis praised the settlement, expressing the core aspects of it.
I think the board will work with them. They are going to do a development agreement of some sort to kind of provide some contours for the district's land and how that's going to be processed, if it is processed over the ensuing months and years.
The original takeover stemmed from Disney's opposition to Florida's Don't Say Gay law, which large parts of the law were overturned in an earlier court decision this month. The unique district provided Disney World with municipal services like firefighting, planning, and mosquito control, which was controlled by Disney supporters for a larger part of 5 decades. The president of Walt Disney Resort said in a statement that the company was happy with the outcome of the settlement. Today, the Senate dismissed all impeachment articles against Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas over his handling of the immigration crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border. While senators were sworn in for the conviction trial, Democrats say that they wanted to end the trial as fast as possible and did so extremely swiftly prior to arguments even taking place. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer immediately moved to dismiss the crimes, stating that the articles of impeachment did not reach the necessary threshold.
I raise a point of order that Impeachment Article 1 does not allege conduct that rises to the level of a high crime or misdemeanor as required under Article 2, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, and is therefore unconstitutional.
Yesterday, House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson initiated the ceremonial process of presenting the articles of impeachment to the Senate with a band of other Republican representatives.
He has repeatedly violated the public trust in a way that no previous cabinet secretary in the history of the United States has, and he has willfully defied federal immigration laws, willfully defied the will of Congress, the bipartisan will of Congress, bipartisan laws that were enacted.
The House of Representatives narrowly avoided to impeach Mayorkas in February, arguing he refused to endorse immigration laws. The dismissal of the impeachment articles was an outright defeat for Speaker Johnson, who made impeachment a major priority in his time as Speaker. One person is dead after severe thunderstorms rolled across a multitude of Midwestern, Southern, and Mid-Atlantic states, leaving thousands of homes and buildings without power. Areas in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, West Virginia, Virginia, and Georgia are currently under tornado watches as well, and Wisconsin is currently experiencing a snowstorm. In northern Oklahoma, 3 tornadoes and heavy rain led to the death of a 46-year-old homeless woman in Tulsa. Outside of Oklahoma, damage to buildings and property has been seen in West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. Ronnie Howard, a resident of Dunbar, West Virginia, shared with the Associated Press how the storms led to the destruction of his car.
I could hear debris hitting the side of the building, and I figured, oh, that must be bad out there. A few minutes later, employees run in and say, Ron, it's your car. I think they're playing a joke on me. And I come outside, and that's what I see, my car.
In West Virginia alone, over 140,000 were left without electricity following the storms. Heading back to the states, the Supreme Court has heard arguments today about a possible change to the accessibility to the drug Mifepristone, a medication used to terminate pregnancies. The case stems from a decision by the Food and Drug Administration in 2016, which eased access to the drug in states where abortion was legal. Currently, Mifepristone can be found in some major pharmacy chains like CVS and Walgreens, as well as through telehealth consultations with specific medical professionals. The Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine is suing the FDA in this case to attempt to bring back more restrictions to the drug and its accessibility. Elizabeth Prologar, the Solicitor General of the U.S., who is representing the FDA in this case, said that it lacks any standing and that creating new restrictions would lead to major issues for women in the U.S.
Rolling back FDA's changes would unnecessarily restrict access to Mifepristone with no safety justification. Some women could be forced to undergo more invasive surgical abortions. Others might not be able to access the drug at all. And all of this would happen at the request of plaintiffs who have no certain injury of their own. The court should reject that profoundly inequitable result.
The justices on the Supreme Court appear to be skeptical about the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine's arguments and are likely to maintain the current access to Mifepristone. That will do it for tonight's edition of Newsline. Many thanks to the entire WRHU news team. Engineering our show this evening is the absolutely brilliant Peter Nicolino. Thank you for tuning into Newsline, only here on your 4-time Marconi Award-winning radio station, 88.7 FM, Radio Hofstra University. Access real-time local Long Island, New York, and global news, along with content from WRHU Talent, Monday through Thursday, 5:30 to 6 p.m. And tune back in from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday morning for our talk show, where we discuss Long Island life, national news, and international issues from the minds and mouths of Hofstra students on the morning wake-up call. Lastly, check us out on social media at WRHU News for behind-the-scenes content. For Newsline, I'm Camryn Bowden. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.